Kim Cattrall, the actress best known for playing Samantha in Sex and the City, is here. She's campaigning for better roles for older women, saying ageism is rife in the acting industry. Good morning. Thank you very much for coming on our programme. We're going to talk in just a moment. Before we do, let's just remind you of some of Kim's best on-screen moments.
How many sexual partners have you had?
I'm counting. This year?
Maria? My Maria from the gallery?
Well, she's my Maria now. We're having a relationship. Yes, ladies, I'm a lesbian. I like young men. I like their company. I want Leonard named my sole inheritor. Everything. Wow, this place is one of a kind.
So are you.
I am so sick of crying. This is the last time.
Last year it was young Evel Knievel, and now it's an aging Knight Rider. Stop the car. Are we taking this outside?
You're damn right we're taking this outside.
Good grief. What's the matter? Don't you like your new scarf?
Not especially. What a funny way to say hello.
What the hell is going on?
My name is Emma Hezare, but you can call me Emmy.
This is a joke, right?
And it turns out I have cancer.
You... What? When?
Well, I had a biopsy on Wednesday, and I found out yesterday. I'm going to give you all the information, and I don't want you to get upset or start worrying. And the only reason I'm telling you now and not later is I didn't want to accidentally blurt out, I have cancer in the middle of Miranda's wedding.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
The last time I saw you was at the BAFTAs.
It was.
Holding a BAFTA,
Which
congratulations.
Is maybe why you're here this morning. Thank you so much for agreeing to my interview bid at 12:30 at night. Thank
you.
You
Were very cheeky and I so appreciated it.
Oh, thank you. It is interesting to hear you laughing watching yourself in that montage, actually. But it is, I mean, such a diverse range of roles that you have played. But you say, actually, now, the best roles for you are in Europe, working in Europe. Why is that?
Well, I think that Europe knows what to do with women of a certain age, more than America does. And part of it, I think, is just because America's a younger country, you know, it's youth-oriented. So I have been lucky enough to have been born here. My family is all here. So when I come over and work, I feel there's a support there. I now have a lot of friends in the UK. So it's been really my second home for the past almost 20 years now. And I'm so happy to be here. I love doing theater. It's just part of people's lives here. It's not like an occasion or a spectacle like it is for a lot of people in America. It's a special occasion. For here, it's, you know, you go to the theater. That's just what you do. Yeah. So I don't do musicals. I do straight theater and mostly classical theater. And there's a huge audience for that there. And also the directors and the set designers and the companies, the theater companies, they're really the best in the world.
But it doesn't make sense, does it, that a whole continent can find roles for older women and a whole other continent can't?
Well, I think part of it is there's just fewer roles. And I'm not ready to play someone who is grotesque, you know, either from being thought of as just a very, very older woman, you know, at 60, 61 this year, which I'm not, and I don't feel that way. 60 now is different than my mother's 60. Yeah. And my auntie's 60, and I've had really the advantage of working out and educating myself further, of traveling, so many things which have challenged me mentally and physically and demanded for me to be youthful in a way. My spirit feels much more youthful, and I'm not ready for that. So I just feel that there's very few roles to begin with, and those roles are either in two categories of someone wanting to be young in a very desperate way, or someone who's given up. That's why I don't depend on Hollywood for jobs anymore. That's why I became an executive producer. I found a property almost 10 years ago, and I thought, this is a character I've never seen on screen. It's a woman who isn't a victim. She's not dying of cancer, but she's at a point in her life where she's saying, well, what now. You know, my roles as a mother are changing. My son has left, and my husband and I are sort of disconnected at this point in my life. But I have 30, 40 more years of life ahead of me. Who am I now? And those are questions that women my age, which is a huge audience out there, which I really want to say to networks, you're missing a big opportunity. The baby boomers are the biggest generation, and we need entertainment. We really do. And I want to provide that. I want to tell those stories.
Can you give me some examples of ageism that you have come across in your world?
Well, it starts very, it starts in a very sort of little bit of a whisper. Yeah. Can she come in and have a meeting? We just want to see what she looks like. We want to see her skin. We want to see, you know, where she's at. And they really kind of just want to see, basically.
So what do they mean? They want to see how old you look?
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a sort of a polite way of doing that. And then after the age of 35 in Hollywood, this happened to me personally, the scripts just stop coming, the leading roles, because there's a whole host of young gals coming up. And, you know, they put older men with younger women. You know, it's just so wonderful what's happened with Brigitte and Emmanuel, just in the French politicians' press releases, him coming out and saying, Macron saying, this is ridiculous if it was the other way around, which it is almost everywhere else in the world.
Because she's 27 years younger than Emmanuel Macron.
Older.
Sorry,
older,
I beg your pardon.
yes,
Older,
yes.
Freudian slip.
And yes. Exactly. You see, and I remember when I was offered Samantha on Sex and the City, I was practicing ageism because it's so much a part of what you're used to on myself, thinking at 41, I can't play this bombshell. So and I look at this now and I think that's insane, but at the time, in 1997, to be even 41 was kind of over the hill, to be a sexual, vital human being.
Are you saying then you don't feel pressure to look younger because you're not playing that game? Or do you still feel that pressure?
I don't feel that pressure. If I want to look a certain way, then that's for my satisfaction. I don't do it because of my work. I do it because that makes me feel good.
But you look 15, 20 years younger than 60?
Thank you.
Do you think if you actually looked your age, you would struggle?
But this is the question. What does 60 look like now? What does it look like? I am exactly what it looks like. I take care of myself, of course. You know, I don't go out in the sun, and I don't drink excessively. I'm not an addictive person. I don't smoke. I mean, those are the questions that people ask you just on a health basis, not as far as an aging basis. But this is what it looks like. And I'm not the only person who looks like this. There's many more of us out there. The kind of work that I'm saying yes to is incorporating not just my age, but my experience. That is what I'm coming to the set with. And that's why people are continuing to say yes to hiring me. Because I have an appetite. I want to continue to challenge myself and an audience that has a perception of what 60 looks like.
Yeah.
A lot of actresses, I had an agent once, and I promptly fired her. She said, why don't you stop telling people your age?
And you
I
said, why?
said, screw it, I'm proud of it, you know.
When you were younger, did you consider surgery or not?
You mean, when I was younger, I didn't need surgery.
No, but there's that period of time, as you're saying, 40-year-old women in Hollywood.
You don't have to have surgery now. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah, you don't have to have something invasive.
No, there's so many different options for you, you know. A dermatologist will educate you. If you can go online, I don't think it's going to come out of just a cream. It's a lifestyle that you choose. But that's easy for me. I would do that as a woman anyway.
Yeah. For every one role for a woman, there are 3 acting roles for men.
I would say even more.
Would you?
But yes, yes.
What is it going to take to change that, do you think?
Well, we've been battling this since Shakespeare. I mean, you look at the canon of Shakespeare's roles there are for men and women, and it's so fantastic that directors like Philippa Lloyd are taking that and making it women's companies of, say, Julius Caesar, which is very exciting that that's happening. And seeing Glenda Jackson playing King Lear. Where is our Lear, you know? The closest, I guess, is Cleopatra, which is why I desperately wanted to play her, which I fortunately have done twice. It's a man's world. Look in your profession. You know, how long did it take women to battle through that crystal ceiling? And we've still got more to go. But I think by educating yourself, by becoming a producer, by having passion projects. One of the things that I did at the BAFTAs, you know, I found Sarah Phelps, who wrote the adaptation of Witness for the Prosecution, which I was so happy to be part of and so proud to be part of. I grabbed her and I said, write me something. You know, we've got to sort of coming together. There's a wonderful organization called 50/50, which is women actresses who just got really pissed off and said, that's it. We've got to make a stand here and really encourage Network and other producers. But I have taken that upon myself and said, listen, I am in a very special, privileged position here to have some kind of a platform and say, listen, we have great stories to tell. We have a lifehood of experience that we want to bring to our work. And the characters we play, that's what was so wonderful about the BAFTAs. You know, we were, that night, as we were talking about earlier, it was a very intimate place, this industry that we have with such wonderful talent. You're 60, you're better than you've ever been. Let us bring that to you as an audience. Let us bring those stories.
Do you know of parts where that you've played where you have been, in terms of your on-screen time, given the same amount of time as a male actor, but you've been paid less?
Not knowingly.
Right. Okay.
No, certainly not as a producer. No. You can really control those aspects. But at this, to be fair, I didn't want to be paid more than my cohorts. I wanted equal play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. In that situation, you know, we had very little budget for sensitive skin. And I realized what was most important for me is that it would be made. So I said, you know, I don't need to make what I would make in the marketplace. Because I'm producing this, I want us all to be fairly treated, but I also want it to be done. And I find most actors, you know, if there's a role, if it's on the page, they will engage and they'll bring their game.
You are filming your next project. You are playing the US president.
Yes, I am.
What insight has it given you in terms of the kind of characters that want to become prime ministers, presidents?
Well, of course, this is a fictional story.
Yes.
But it was fascinating. You know, I always need to find a way in to a character. And that's usually through their vulnerability. But just looking at what it takes to even contemplate taking on this job, which is an impossible job, is the narcissism. And some of that is in a negative sense when it becomes pathological. But the rest of it is to feel that you can even attempt this, never mind make it happen, and then have the responsibility of the free world on your shoulders. I mean, that's what I so much admired about Hillary Clinton, is her grit and her determination. And she had survived it all. And I thought, here's someone on the other side, for the other ticket, the Republican ticket, who is a businessman and a pathological narcissist, not just in the office.
But are you not saying then that Hillary Clinton wasn't? Are you saying she was not a narcissist? Because she too wanted to be president.
Yes, of course. How could she not be? I mean, how could you want that for a lifestyle and not have... Maybe it is the opposite side of narcissism. Maybe it's such poor self-esteem that you need that amount of adoration. But for me, it's playing the president. She is abducted, so the story becomes more of a personal issue. But what I really found interesting in that character specifically was how she sat back and really watched as opposed to react, which I wish the President of the United States would do more of.
Okay, so how are you finding the first 100 and odd days of US President Trump?
Terrifying. I think a lot of people are losing sleep. A friend of mine is a psychologist, and he said, I can't tell you how many people are sitting opposite me on a daily basis who are terrified. I mean,
this is actually, we're showing pictures of Donald Trump when he was in Sex and the City, a cameo.
I knew him first as a day player on Sex and the City.
Do you think he should have stuck to acting then?
I don't think he was an actor, to say that. I think that he can only play himself.
What does it say, if anything, that he was elected after it became clear he'd boasted at one point about grabbing women by their pussy?
Well, I think that he was appealing to a lot of people who felt they were not being heard. And I think a lot of people who, you know, they felt that on the Democratic side that was not the right candidate. So they decided not to vote at all, which is a vote against what I feel was the right thing to do for the next step for the country, living in America. So I think that it was a terrible mistake, and I think that as the days go by, the fear increases and the reality is there for all to see.
Let me read some messages. I'm going to have to apologise for your language slightly earlier, which you would not have even noticed what you did, but somebody will write and complain. So I'm saying...
Oh dear, did I say?
It's all right, don't say it again. Tweet from Christina. Isn't at Kim Cattrall just wonderful? Nadia, I love Kim Cattrall's interview. This is brilliant. It's still a man's world, it says Angela. It is right, women still get overlooked in many working roles, not just acting, especially as you get older. Tweet from Bain, loving the interview with Kim Cattrall, being 60 myself and feeling fab here. I have to say, there are so many of these. They're all the same. They're all saying the same thing. I'm not going to read them all. Karina, if I look that good at 60, I will be blessed. Tweet from Laura, what does 60 look like now? This is what it looks like. The fabulous at Kim Cattrall on Victoria Live this morning. And so it goes on. They're all there on Twitter. I know you're on Twitter. Can I ask you what you think about this general election campaign? Do you have a view? Would you like to share it if you do?
Well, thank God it's shorter than the one in America. That's all I can say. But it's politics as usual, isn't it? It just is.
Who would you vote for? Can I ask you that? Or do you think that's naughty of me to ask that?
Very, very naughty. But that's got you where you are, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. In terms of your role as US President, when you're filming in Sweden, you go the end of this week, when can people see that?
The program is called Modus, and it's Modus 2, being the second series. I think it's going to air in the fall on BBC 4, I believe. That's where the first series airs, so I'm sure it'll be, the second series will as well. And that will be in the fall.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And of course there's Witness for the Prosecution, if you haven't caught that.
And where can people get that?
I think that's on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah. We haven't got very much time left, but I know you have talked in the past about the stigma you say you face for not having children. Do you still face that? Are things changing?
I continue to mentor young women, so I feel that that part of me, that maternal side of me, is still being expressed, and I'm still, I feel that is my role as a mother. Just because you don't have children doesn't mean that you don't have maternal instincts. It's just part of being human, not just female. And I get a tremendous amount of pleasure, and they're not just young actresses. I give talks, I give a lot of my time to, I feel, people who, first of all, need it.
Okay.
And are working hard on, you know, battling through what it is to be 20 right now, which is really complicated. 60 is actually easier in some ways.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very nice to see you. Thank you.
See you at the BAFTAs.
Thank you. Thanks for your company today. Back tomorrow at 9. Have a good day. BBC Newsroom Live is coming up next. Thank you.